Come, let us sing for joy to the Lord. Let us shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. For the Lord is the great God, the great King above all gods. Come, let us bow down and worship. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. For he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture, the flock under his care.
Hey, my name's Philip, and this is my church too. And I'm really glad that you're here. I'm the pastor of this church, and yes, it's real. Just kidding. I don't know why I said that. I didn't say that first service. 11 o'clock, just a little looser. We're really, really glad that you're here, and I'm excited to kick this season off. I love Christmas. I'm a little bit of a Clark Griswold. As a matter of fact, my favorite movie of all time, not just Christmas movie, of all time, is Christmas Vacation, which you may need to find another church next week if that offends you. But already, my house is fully decorated, and the tree is up and all that stuff, and my family and I have already watched Christmas Vacation and Elf so far, and it's December 3rd, so we're doing pretty good. If you don't know what those two movies are, then I need to speak to you after service. We need to have some prayer time. But one of my favorite things to do in the world, I don't like to do at Christmas time. My wife and I, we're smart this way. We didn't do a lot of things. I don't do a lot of things very well, but one of these things I did well. You may want to take notes. If you're young, if you're not married, if you're a college student, you want to write this one down, put a mental note. We trained our families as we got married. We've been married now for 18 and a half years. And I know I look way too young to be married for 18 years. It's just my height. So we told our families, like, listen, we'll travel every holiday and we'll alternate holidays with the families until we have kids. And then when we have kids, we're done with the travel. If you want to see us, come see us. And I've broken that rule just a couple of times. And each time I broke that rule, it was just there was weeping, gnashing of teeth. Let's say that. It was bad. So I'm never going to break that rule again. I don't travel on holidays, but I do love to travel. And on top of that, I love to fly. I love getting in a plane in a metal tube in one city, flying through the air magically, and then getting off that tube in another place altogether. I just think that's cool. I'm a nerd. I'm a dork. I'm easily entertained, but I think it's neat. But here's really why I love to fly. Because the airport is the people-watching capital of the world. It's like the mall at Christmas all year long. If you don't people watch it at the mall at Christmas, you need to. And the more bootleg the mall, the better it is. So we're in luck here at Rock Hill. Doesn't get much worse and still get called a mall. If you work at the mall, we love you. I'm sorry for offending you, and I'm sorry that you work there. But I love to people watch at the airport. It's so fun. You see just the best and the worst of people. And one of the most beautiful things that happens, if you've ever seen this, maybe you've even been a part of this, is there's people waiting at baggage claim for people getting off planes. It used to happen at the terminal, but at 9/11, since then it's been back at baggage claim. So this is what happens is there's a group of people waiting for these people to get off the planes and into the baggage claim, and they're usually standing there, and they're usually dressed really, really nice or something like that. Not a whole lot of people in sweats and ponytails at the baggage claim waiting on other people. There's a few, but that's it's me. It's all it is. I used to have a ponytail, as a matter of fact. So. But you see them, and they're just excited, and some of them have balloons and flowers, and they've made signs, and they're just like they're like doing weird stuff, like who does this? Why do we crouch when we do that? I don't understand. Like we're sitting in the invisible chair. I'm so excited. But they do that. You see this at the baggage claim, and then when the person actually gets out of the walkway and they're like eye lock. It's like they can't get to each other fast enough, right? It's like there's too much space. Now I need you here now, right? It's kind of like that. And actually, there's some beautiful things. If you've seen this on the internet, there's this, amazing video of this family who adopted 3 brothers from another country, and because of legal country issues, that it was delayed on when they got to come home to be with them. And there's this scene at the airport where the brothers get off the plane and they get into the baggage claim, and some of them are like, 2 of them are like little brothers, but another one's like a high schooler, and the response is exactly the same. They're running full speed at this old couple and just embrace them, and tears are falling. It's beautiful, and I love that. What if I told you that same excitement, that anticipation, that motivation, that just, there's too much space. What if I told you if that was supposed to be our attitude every single time we gather for worship? Like, you would go somewhere else if I was standing outside with a sign. You come to TCC? Come here! Right? Like balloons and flowers. This is so good to hear. I stopped traffic for Martha this morning, but she was in crutches, so it was a whole different thing. But if you saw me out there like that, you would just be like, I'm going to Grace Lutheran today. And down less facial hair down there. Like this. That's how it works. And it's weird, but I promise that emotion, that motivation is exactly what we're supposed to feel like when we gather as the church, as we gather for worship. And I know some of you are not Christians, and this is why I'm not a Christian, because that's freaking weird, man. Right? I get it. And I don't expect that from you. You're there, you're here, and we're glad you're here. Maybe you've got questions. Maybe you've been burned by church. Maybe you're in a philosophy class, and your whole idea of what church is or what God is like in shambles right now. And we want you to know this is a safe place for you to be. We're not going to expect you to do something. We're not going to try to convince you of something. We're hoping that you enjoy community and you experience that and you realize that that's from God. That we're here not because we just like each other, but because we love each other, because God loves us. That's how this works. But for those of you like me who are Christians, that is supposed to be our motivation. That is supposed to be our attitude when we gather for worship. And as a matter of fact, over the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about this idea of worship. And it's a perfect season to talk about worship. This Christmas season that we celebrate a God who came to be with us, Emmanuel. That is everything, every motivation we need to worship well. And in Psalm 95, which is where we're going to be today, you just heard part of it read. I'd love for you to turn in the Bible, or if you have the Bible on your phone, you should download the Bible on your phone so you never feel guilty being in church like, I didn't bring my Bible. Right? No, you did. I brought my phone. It's my Bible. Okay? You can do that. But in Psalm 95, the psalmist gives us some explanation of why this is supposed to be our attitude. This is how we're supposed to approach worship gatherings together. This is what he says in Psalm 95, starting at verse 1. Oh, come, let us sing to the Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. And that's an important verse right there, not because of its Hebrew original language, but because of the word noise. Because some of y'all, I love you, but you can't sing. Okay? And you should be really glad that we're called to make a joyful noise, not a joyful note, because you ain't got that in your repertoire. Okay? So, that's where you are. That's where some of us are. We need to make noise to the rock of our salvation. Verse 2, let us come into his presence with thanksgiving. Let us make a joyful noise, again, to him with songs of praise. Now, some of this language is lost on us because it's just not the same. Like the English language, I've said this before, it's awful. And if you speak another language, you know how awful it is. Like we have 3 different spellings for the same word, and they mean 3 different things, yet like 2. Like we have 3 different spellings of 2. They mean different things, but we have 1 word to communicate love. Like, I love my dog, and I love my wife, and I love Netflix. Like, that's not the same, okay? It stinks. The English language stinks. But here's what the psalmist is saying with this repeated phrase in here. He says it several times. He says, let us come. That doesn't mean anything to you, right? Like, yeah, like we're allowed to come. Big deal. Let us come. But here's what that really is saying. A better explanation of that phrase is make haste. Hurry up! There's too much space, right? That's what he's saying. Like, come on! You should be excited. You should be overjoyed. You should be like, I can't wait till Sunday! And that's how I am every week. Well, some weeks. Some of you guys just make me mad, and so I don't want to see you. And I asked Jay or Ward to speak. No, not really. I'm just kidding. I love getting here. I love setting up for, I don't love setting up for church. I'd rather not set up for church. But it's awesome. I can't wait. And you're thinking, well, that's your job, genius. Right? I know. But some of our volunteers, and it's not their job, they can't wait for Sunday. They can't wait for Sunday so much, they're working on Sunday, Monday through Saturday. They love it. And I want that to be all of our attitudes. And not just GCC, not because it's our amazing worship team. And did we have a choir today? Yes, we had a choir. It's freaking Christmas. It's awesome. All right? I want that to be our attitude. Make haste. Hurry up. And I know you're thinking, well, it's just church, man. That's just not how we do it in America. That's not true. You know how I know? Because I've seen you at the movies. Okay? A couple of weeks ago, it's Thanksgiving, my family and I, we went to see The Star. It's an animated movie about the animals and the story of Jesus, and that'll come back eventually, I hope. Okay? But the movie was at 7 o'clock. Do you know what time we left our house? Which, by the way, is like 10 minutes from the theater. Not 6:50. Not even 6:30. We left at like 6 o'clock. We left at 6 o'clock from our house to go 10 minutes to sit in a dark room with strangers with sugared up 2-year-old. To look at a blank screen for 45 minutes. And I was standing at the door waiting for them to look. Y'all, the movie starts at 7 o'clock. Like, Dad, it's 6. I know! Why aren't we already there? Like, that's how we are. You like watching the previews, don't you? You like even the dumb movie trivia that everybody should get, and if you don't get it, like, do you know what a TV is? Kind of thing. Like, and now they have commercials, which is a little annoying because I watch enough of commercials at home, and now YouTube. I'm getting off on a tangent. Okay. But you get that. Like, that's how we all respond. Nobody comes into a movie late. Nobody does. They go to the bathroom because they've been there for 30 minutes. And they go to the bathroom and then they come back in. And it's not different. Did anybody go to Charlotte to the game last night? A couple of you did. You got extra points for being at church the next day, okay? All right? I went to a Clemson game 2 weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago in Clemson. And it was the Citadel. It was a 12 o'clock game on Saturday. Do you know what time we left my house? Friday! We for a football game, we went and spent the night in town so that we could get up and go to the stadium 3 hours early. So that we could watch the team walk by in suits. Cool? It'd be cooler if they were playing in suits. Wouldn't that be neat? That's just a bunch of like businessmen like, "Bah!" Right? My dream world. But you do this too, right? You go to games, you do the sports, you do the movies. We go, we make haste. We gotta go. But church, that's not my thing. You know, speaking of sports, one of the things that didn't used to be my thing was golf. I didn't get it. I was a hater. I didn't understand golf. It costs money, and you have to have special shoes and clothes and clubs and all this stuff. And it's just a bunch of people out there hitting a little ball with a stick, and it just didn't make sense to me. Like, it's no... Like, I like sports where you interact, where you can, like, accidentally punch somebody that you're going against. Kind of, I mean, not punch, but, you know, like, just gently nudge in the face with your elbow. So, and so I was a hater. I was. I didn't understand. I just didn't see what the big deal is. That's how my attitude was. My friends loved to play golf. They loved to go out there. They're always trying to get me out to go out there. I was like, I don't see what the big deal is. You know what now? I have my own golf clubs. I have 2 pair of golf shoes. I have certain pants. I've asked on Christmas lists for shirts and pants to wear to play golf only. I have hats and a glove. Like Michael Jackson apparently played golf. I have these things. I have all these accessories for golf. You know what happened? I went out and I had an experience. I saw what golf had to offer. And for me, I finally understood. I gave it an opportunity. I went out there to see what it was all about. And I had an experience with golf. And now I enjoy it. I'm terrible at it, but I enjoy it. I have accessories. I get ready. I go early. I hit other golf balls to get ready to hit other golf balls. That's how it works. And what you're probably thinking about with worship is that, well, I just don't connect that way. That's fine, and I believe what you're saying, Philip, and I get it, and I can see where you're coming from, but I just, for me, worship isn't what that is. This is something I do because my wife likes to come, or this is what I do so that my parents don't ask me what's going on at college so much, or this is what I do because I don't know what else to do. But I'd argue that in Psalm 95, the psalmist gives us two very good reasons to make haste to worship God. He says this, starting in verse 3. For the Lord is a great God, and a great King above all gods. In his hands are the depths of the earth. The heights of the mountains are his also. The sea is his, for he made it, and his hands formed the dry land. Oh, come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. For he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture, and the sheep of his hand. In that section of Scripture, the psalmist offers us two reasons why we should make haste to worship God. In verse 3, he argues, for the Lord is a great God and a great King above all gods. God, in his power, created all things and sustains all things. If you're big into science, then you know this already, but there is no reason why the earth shouldn't just, in a second, just be like, we're done. Like, we have mountains that are mountains for thousands of years and then just explode. Liquid hot magma all over the place. We have holes in our atmosphere that just disappear and reappear at times. We have gravity that could just crack everything open at any time. Like, we have sinkholes. That's the way this thing works and functions. There's no reason why in the blink of an eye the earth couldn't cease to exist. Yet God sustains it. Year after year, generation after generation, we live and we prosper. The other reason he gives us in verse 7, for he is our God and we are the people of his pasture. By his grace, God has chosen us to be in relationship with him. Try to stay with me as all the technical weirdo stuff's going on, okay? The second reason that we should make haste to worship is that by his grace, God has chosen you and he's chosen me to be in relationship with him. When my wife said yes to be in relationship with me, I went nuts. Okay, this is before social media, and you should all be thankful that it was before social media, because you'd all quit following me right then and there. She said yes, she said yes, she said yes. All kinds of videos and crap. Insta story, right? I'd have gone crazy. God has chosen to be in a relationship, for me to be in a relationship with him. He deserves my praise. He deserves my adoration. He deserves my attention. He deserves my motivation. I should make haste. But perhaps the biggest hurdle for you and me, perhaps the biggest reason that we don't get this is where we live and the time in which we live. You see, for Americans, especially Southern Americans, we have so many options for worship. We have so much variety that it's lost on us now. Okay? And if you're under the age of 30, then this is going to be completely lost on you. But if you're over the age of 30, then I just want you to remember what worship used to be like 25 years ago. Okay? If you're wearing jeans today, not 25 years ago. Nope. Somebody would come and talk to you. Son, you're supposed to be dressed for the Lord today. This happened. Some of you, this happened too. God forbid you wear short pants, which is what they call them. Not shorts, short pants. 25 years ago, all the worship music in the world was in one hardbound book. That was it. Here you go. This is what you get to worship with. Today, We have so much variety and so many different songs and so many different genres that if you push play on iTunes right now, you could not listen to it all before the day you died. We have such a convenience and so many options that we're just kind of like, whatever. It is what it is. I mean, we are gifted here at this church. I mean, some of you are here because of the guy that stands behind this thing right here. Okay? It's a gift. Brogan and this team that he's built and these amazing, I mean, we have mandolins and banjos and violins and like a choir. I mean, it's amazing. But for most of us, this is lost. Because see, 25 years ago, we didn't have a night of worship, which I love our nights of worship. I do. I really enjoy them. We didn't have them. You know what we used to have? We had fifth Sunday night hymn sing. That was when it was like, that was the best you got. And do you know what happened? For those of you who didn't grow up in church like me, this is what happened on a fifth Sunday night hymn sing. You'd all get in the room, and there was no like video to like warm your heart or nothing to, the guy just got up there, music minister got up there. It's like, all right, y'all, what y'all want to sing tonight? And people would literally call out numbers in the hymn book. And I was a teenager at the time, so there were only 2 hymns that any of the teenagers wanted to request. There were 2 hymns. I'm not going to tell you what hymn number 1 was, but I'll tell you that the second hymn was hymn number 666. I'm just keeping it real. I was a demon. And I was a good kid. I wouldn't talk about hymns number 1. If you're not sure what hymn number 1 is, then good for you. You don't need to know. But that's where I was. Just where me. But inevitably, like that's what would happen. You'd call out a hymn and they'd sing it and then they're like, next! Like no transition, no prayerful moment. It was just Bertha going, I'm not number 9. And the music minister was like, what, Bertha? And you're like, well, somebody talk to Bertha. We don't know what she's saying. And they'd figure out what Bertha wanted to sing, and then they'd sing it, and they'd be like, next, like you're at the butcher shop or customer service at Walmart or something. That's what we had. Today, you get lights and videos and transitions and songs that actually connect with you. And I get it. I know, like right now, you're thinking, again, Philip, I believe you. I understand what you're saying. But I just don't connect through music like a lot of people. And I will tell you, that is a lie. That is not true. Do we have the audio still working back there? You didn't think so? We're going to try this, okay? I want to prove to you that you do connect through music, okay? Play the first one, hopefully. Here we go. You're already bouncing. Some of you are already bouncing. You ready? Get your arm ready. Wait. Okay? That's the 3-time ACC champion Clemson Tigers song, Tiger Rag, right? I know some of you are offended by that, so I decided to be nice, but I had to do some research for this because it's not quite as knowledgeable. And so go ahead and play the second one for us. You're not even sure what this is. See, South Carolina fans, you don't even know this is your fight song. Some of you do. Some of you. Clemson fans know it's your fight song. They're already like, okay, I got a couple of you. Now, see, here's the thing, South Carolina, Clemson. I understand y'all like your songs. Let me teach you something. This is what a real fight song sounds like. Cheer for Notre Dame. Wake up the echoes cheering. You don't even know the words to yours. You're like, go Pops, Tiger Rag. We know all the words. Because we care, this is real. And you have to have grades. Oh. Be offended. Miami, Georgia, whatever, Stanford, I don't care. 11 national championships. Bring it. Okay? We're getting back. Now, some of you are like, I'm just not a sports fan, Philip. I'm more into the arts. All right, okay. So am I. Some of you aren't like sportsy, but you're thinking like, you ain't hit my nerve yet and got my heart yet, all right? I guarantee, I don't care how old you are. This is the last one. This will get you. Come on, Lee. Some of you, if not all of you, have cried during this song before. And right now you're conflicted, like, am I supposed to stand up or salute, or this feels weird sitting down. It's Lee Greenwood, y'all. Right? I just don't connect through music, Philip. Liar. Right? You don't even put your hands up in church, but you're out there with Lee Greenwood, man. Yeah. Swaying. Getting your lighter that you're hiding from church, right? Right? You do. I do. Here's why. Here's why we connect through these things. Because there is an emotive connection between the worshiper and the object of worship. There is an emotive connection between the worshiper and the object of worship, whether it's God or a football team or a country or a school. Because every team, every sports team, every school, every country has a song. You realize that? Because it was in us, innately created in us to connect emotively, whether that's joyful or sorrowful or excited or anticipatory or whatever. There is an emotive connection that you and I have, the worshiper and the object of worship. But when it comes to church, when it comes to Jesus stuff, we just disengage or we've been burned or we just don't get it. But this is what Louis Giglio says about worship. And Louis Giglio is a pastor in Atlanta. He led the Passion movement. He's Passion City Church. This is what Louis says about worship. He says, worship is our response to what we value most. And as a result, worship fuels our actions, becoming the driving force of all we do. That's all of us. That's all of us. And you see, some of us, we don't sing. And some of us, we don't raise our hands. It might not be your thing, but we don't even get there because our heart's not in it. And we think, well, I can't do something because my heart's not in it. And listen, that's true. Oftentimes, our posture does follow our heart. But sometimes our posture needs to guide our heart. Because sometimes you come to church after losing a job. Sometimes you have an argument, a bad argument. I don't mean just like the kids are in the car argument. I mean bad argument on your way to church. Sometimes you show up after losing a loved one. Sometimes you show up and you're the loneliest person that you know, and your heart is not in it. And sometimes we have to put our posture in a place that can guide our hearts. I think I just lost my mic. Is that right? I might have just lost my mic. You see, if you want to have a heart of worship, you have to bow down. We have to be willing to let go of what we're walking through and not worship because we feel like it, but worship because God deserves it. He is the creator and sustainer of all life. And He's chosen us to be in relationship with Him. That's worth it. We should bow down in awe and reverence of that alone. Sometimes our posture needs to guide our heart. And I think this is the perfect time of year. I think it's the perfect time of year to let God give you an experience, because maybe church worship is like golf in my life for you. I just don't see what the big deal is. I just don't get it. And I wonder if you've ever really given yourself an opportunity to experience what it is to worship God. And so what we want to do is we want to take the next few weeks and we want to give you that opportunity. And I'm going to ask some of you to really just step out of your comfort zone, because you come and you stand and you hold that seat and you watermelon the lyrics so that nobody judges you. But I actually want you to sing. Maybe you just need to close your eyes and ask God to show Himself to you, to have an experience with God. We want to extend the invitation for you to make haste. I want you to be excited about next Sunday. I want you to just wish it were here already, and not just so that the semester would end. We want you to come to worship. And so if our sound system's still working, our band's going to come and lead us in a brand new song. They're going to come lead us in a song. And I'm not going to ask you to stand. I'm not going to ask you to come down front. I'm not even going to ask you to sing. What I want you to do, I want you to enter into this time however you need to enter into this time. Perhaps your posture will follow your heart. You're here, you're ready, let's sing, let's go. I want to worship. Perhaps not. Perhaps you're not ready for this. But I'd ask you, maybe your posture needs to guide your heart a little bit this morning. Maybe you need to give God an opportunity to show you what it can be like to worship, to show Himself to you. I'm going to pray. The band's going to sing. We're going to sing. And if you feel led, you stand up and you sing. You raise your hands. If you feel led, you kneel. You turn around in that seat. You put your face in that seat and you cry your eyes out. If you want to come down here and pray, you do that. But we're going to sing this song together. And we're going to give you an opportunity to come to worship.